talk about. We do it on the Sire Studios digital network. That's secretsofthesire.com, youtube.com/Sire Studios, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, and twitch.tv/Secrets of the Sire. We turn this all into a podcast that you can get on all major podcasting apps, including Apple, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, and the Castworks Comedy Network. I am your host, Michael Dolce, as always, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Hassan Godwin, Lord of the Live Stream. How you doing, sir?
I miss being Lord of the Radio.
You go back and forth. You a few weeks ago, you loved Lord of the Live Stream. So, you know.
I didn't say I don't love it. I just say I miss being Lord of the Radio.
So,
I had more esteem. The radio goes back a little ways longer.
That's a good point. Good point. I agree with you on that.
It's a little more like royalty.
So if you caught last week's show, which I know you caught last week's show because you were here making it with us, we didn't know what we were going to talk about today, and then all this stuff happens, which is great for us. So tonight, Oscar's So Superhero, Birds of Prey versus Morbius trailer. Look at that, and we're going to spin the latest comics to film racks, but we'll start with some opening credits. For a couple little tidbits here. Doctor Strange loses its director. I don't know if you caught that at all.
I saw that, yes.
Scott Derrickson, that was last week, has decided to drop out over creative differences, which is always the case. This doesn't seem to really happen to Marvel very often, does it? Like, can you list directors that they've lost? I don't really.
They lost the director for Ant-Man. I forget what his name was.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
Darn. Not... and I like his.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
I like his work, but I can't remember his name right off the bat. But yeah, we lost him. We didn't get him.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, no, not really.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what that's going to mean for this, because this movie, Doctor Strange, according to all the chatter, is really going to set up. Or be set up by that WandaVision show on Disney Plus. So it's interesting, when they're trying to weave a Phase 4 or a fourth volume at this point of the MCU, to kind of lose the director here this far into it, where you for the most part have no, not that you're on autopilot, but I feel like by this point Marvel has to just be kind of this, well-oiled machine. To lose a director.
Edgar Wright for Ant-Man.
That's it. There you go. Yeah. Just interesting. Again, I'm not gonna like shout to the heavens and say it's all coming down. The dynasty is over.
No, probably not. I mean, it's just a thing, and it happens. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more than it already has for Marvel. They made like 21 movies.
Yeah.
In the course of the last 10 years, and they've only lost there's only one other incident that we can think of where that actually happened. So it happens. I don't think it's a disaster.
Yeah, I know.
Creative differences. Every one of these guys is like an artist or an artiste, depending on what some of these guys are, and by the nature of the business, some of these guys are really young. Like, these are new.
Yeah.
They're bringing in new talent. They're bringing in new people who have their own visions. They came in. They might have done something with the one movie that was really great. This is what happened with Trevorrow for Lucasfilm. He did it. He impressed Steven Spielberg. They gave him Jurassic World. He made $1 billion with Jurassic World.
Yeah.
So then he became a hot new director.
It was Trevorrow.
And then they give him Trevorrow.
Okay.
And then they gave him
Rise of Skywalker.
It was Rise of Skywalker at the time, but they gave him episode 9.
Yeah.
And we all know how that ended, right?
Yeah.
So, and there are varying stories about exactly why or what the nature of the situation was. But like I said, these guys are young. Some of them don't they're not Ron Howard. Ron Howard knows how to navigate. Like, someone's gonna mouth off to Ron Howard. He's gonna be like, yeah, okay, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, millennial, right? And he's gonna move on. But there may be friction with younger directors who don't quite know the business yet.
Yeah.
And so we get that.
Other MCU news before we get over to our Oscars So Superhero talk, which I'm really excited about because there's some really good Oscar noms that took place. Disney says New Mutants is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And we did our New Mutants trailer Truth or Trash, which you can go check out our review on YouTube and all the fun places that we have our podcast and our video live stream out. According to Disney's official newsletter for the D23 fan club, this is according to comicbook.com, New Mutants is officially part of the Marvel Universe because it says there's a seriously electrifying new addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it comes in the form of the latest from 20th Century Fox and Marvel Entertainment. Now, this could be a mistake, they're noting, as the official Disney newsletter might have mixed up a few wires, and or if you think about it, maybe semantically, it's just some marketing. It's probably like, first of all, it's probably some marketing intern. It's probably like 17, and they're like,
so you're like,
can you fill out?
You're giving
this?
them their outspin. You're giving them their ability to spin out of it.
Well, I mean, it's not like Kevin Feige has actually come out and said it. In fact, I mean, we were all surprised. We even saw a trailer. I looked over under whether this movie was even going to come out, even though it was on the schedule.
True.
So for it to go this length, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think your instincts are correct. We'll wait for Feige or one of his upper echelon to say that this is officially part.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guarantee they're gonna wait to see how well the movie does.
Yeah. But think about it though too. I mean, this is the first entrance of mutants in the Marvel universe, if that's the case.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're gonna wait. If it is a runaway hit, then they'll say, yeah, we're gonna absorb this into the MCU. But if it's not, if it turns into another Dark Phoenix, they're gonna talk about contractual obligations and blah blah blah. And we were unable to not release this due to legalities and we were unforeseen, yada yada yada. But I mean, if it turns into a Joker movie,
I know.
Then they would be like, oh, and now we're going to make 10 more just like it. Enjoy.
That was our opening credits. Now, shifting to this is the first topic I really want to talk about. So again, last week...
Wait, you didn't want to talk about those other topics? You were not interested?
No, I just did. I wanted to update our audience.
Emphasize that this topic, this particular topic is
I wanted to educate. Look, I am all about educating our listeners in case they miss these news, or maybe we're the ones culling this information for them, and that's what makes me feel good about it.
That's fair.
Between this week and last week, I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, I don't know what we're really going to talk about next week. That was no joke when last week.
Should never reveal that, by the way.
But
that we sometimes feel topicless.
We feel that like every week.
Yeah, but we shouldn't reveal that. That's what I'm saying. We're always on top of the game, man.
Behind the curtain.
Yeah. That's it. That's for the Patreons.
And Darren Sanchez. So but then all of a sudden, I remembered it from last year too. This happens every year at the beginning of the year also. Oscar nominations this time of year. Golden Globes were last week. The Golden Globe Awards were last week. And immediately after comes like Critics' Choice. It's like this endless flurry of awards. And this year, Oscar nominations were announced Monday of this week. And we got Scarlett Johansson. We got Adam Driver. We've got Joker. We've got Rise of Skywalker. We got Avengers Endgame. We've got all of these major movies / actors and actresses part of the Oscar nominations. So in the pop culture universe, we've even got, guest voices / directors in Taika Waititi. Best Picture nominations out. Irishman obviously is one of the big ones. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But Jojo Rabbit got nominated, and that was directed by Taika Waititi, the Thor Ragnarok. Taika? Is it Taika?
Taika. I think it's Taika.
It was Taiki, but I could be wrong.
I think it's Taika
and I'm probably butchering. Taika Waititi? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go with that version, just so that we're unified.
Just so you can blame it on me if it's wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You see right through me.
I know. It's been a while.
Parasite, which is not, again, a comic book movie, but just
it's a Korean movie, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a genre movie, and that's typically does not get the recognition. but it got nominated for Best Picture and nominated for Best Foreign Pictures.
Oh, precedent.
Yeah. And of course, the big one was Todd Phillips' Joker. Not only did Todd Phillips' Joker get a Best Picture nomination, he got a Best Director nomination for Joker, which that to me I think is a first, right? Because Christopher Nolan got snubbed all those years for Batman, or did he not? Did he get nominated for director?
I don't think so. I think I got nominated for Best Picture, but he didn't get nominated for Best Director.
He didn't even. No, it did not get nominated for Best Picture. That was one of the reasons why they expanded the genre.
Whoa! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I'm looking up right now whether he was ever nominated for Best Director for Batman, but I don't think he was.
I don't believe he was. I'm pretty sure he wasn't, because the word snubbed comes up a lot with Nolan, and you don't get snubbed if you're nominated.
Yeah, I know.
They don't apply the S word to you if you're nominated.
Yeah. All right. So Facebook people, YouTube people out there, please let us know, and we'll revisit that. Joaquin Phoenix got his expected Oscar nom, and he's the favorite to win. I mean, this thing. If you're not Jared Leto, and if you get nominated for the Joker, you're going to win. Like I don't think there's any. The only competition I think he's going to have now, ironically, Adam Driver nominated, not for Kylo Ren, settle down, people, but for his depiction in Marriage Story of a marriage falling apart. Opposite,
he got to answer your question, he got nothing for Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So he got a nomination for Best Screenplay for Inception.
Right.
He got a nomination for Best Picture for Inception.
Yeah.
He got a nomination for Best Director for Dunkirk, which is well deserved.
Yeah.
He got a nomination for Best Picture for Dunkirk, and he actually got a nomination for Best Screenplay for Memento.
Yeah, that was his first
back
film.
In 2002.
Yeah.
But nothing for Dark Knight.
Nothing for Dark Knight.
So it was a complete bypass.
Yeah. Okay. And Scarlett Johansson also nominated for Marriage Story. She's actually been nominated both for Best Actress and for Best Supporting Actress, all in one. So again, Black Widow. Obviously not playing.
Yeah, the minute she steps out of the MCU, she starts getting accolades and stuff like that again.
Best Supporting Actress, Jojo Rabbit. Margot Robbie gets a nomination for Bombshell. So I mean, we got a lot of folks in this Best Original Score.
It's going to be a contested evening.
It'll be interesting, right?
Yeah. It's going to be a heavy evening.
Yeah, Joker and Star Wars Rise of Skywalker for Best Original Score, Joker for Cinematography, Best Sound Mixing for Rise of Skywalker, and finally Best Visual Effects, Rise of Skywalker and Avengers Endgame. However,
that's usually how they get kind of brushed to the side with that. They get the visual stuff. Yeah. Nobody gets Best Actor or Best Director or Best Screenplay, anything like that for those kind of movies.
Well, but that's what makes Todd Phillips getting for director actually, I think, pretty impressive.
But I mean, the comic book movies, there's been precedents with Logan. We've been there, you know. It's not common.
No, not Best Director yet. There has never been, because he didn't.
But I'm saying they broke the ceiling by getting genuine nominations for genuine movie artistry, as opposed to special effects and, you know, great best sound. They used to give Star Wars best sound all the time, you know, and it was like, come on, like they were totally snubbed. Now, arguably, maybe they weren't the works of art that the Academy wanted to exalt, so therefore they did not get the nomination. But it's the precedent. We already had the precedents with Logan. Now,
but again, he didn't get a Best Director nomination. There's never been a comic book movie.
You're specifying that.
Yeah, no, that's
about them they have broken the ceiling. So now it's a matter of them being taken seriously. Now it's a matter of them actually getting the award. That's the next year. But I mean, the fact that they got nominated, was a breaking of the ceiling in and of itself, as opposed to it's like a periphery nomination of, like, you know, best hairstylist, you know, not to put any of those people down.
No, understood. It's the major categories.
Exactly. So we'll see.
Now,
what happens.
There was a little bit of controversy in this. Issa Rae, who helped announce it with John Cho, threw out a little shade because all the Best Director nominees, and that's kind of where I was going with the Todd Phillips thing too. When she announced all the winners, she said, "Congratulations to those men," and she kind of gave a look. because she was very upset that there was no women directors nominated. And it's interesting to me because now it's this year also they're saying it's a lack of inclusion in the nominees. But if I recall, didn't they revamp the whole system last year? And wasn't like there a record number of diverse nominees and stuff like that? So how from year one to year two within the same system did it not play out?
I don't know. There are 150 reasons from the outlandish to the circumstantial, right?
Yeah.
Like circumstantially, maybe nobody of note made a movie this year or made anything that was worthy of being considered this year. That's what you would want to call the innocent circumstantial.
Well, listen to this, right? So Academy members from each of the 17 branches vote to determine the nominees in their respective categories, meaning actors nominate actors, film editors nominate film editors, and so on. And there were some snubs. I mean, Jennifer Lopez, they said, they think she should have gotten in the Best Supporting Actress category. Awkwafina, however, she was put in the Best Actress category, not Best Supporting. Like, that's what they pushed her for, and they think that might have been why she got snubbed. Little Women's Greta Gerwig was the most glaring omission for director.
Yeah, because they've been talking about that movie for weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
And weeks as pretty much Oscar bait.
Yeah, well, it got
to find out
it got a Best Picture nom. But that's that. I get again. That to me goes back to the Christopher Nolan thing, right? Like, the movies themselves. Sometimes they give you, sometimes people kind of like parse their vote out and.
It's two things. Here, we'll mark it as two things, right? On the one hand, she's got every right to feel that more women should be nominated.
Mm-hmm.
And then having a platform, she's got every right to say something about it.
Yeah.
We have every right to either take her seriously or not agree, right? You could argue that if Little Women was nominated for Best Picture, mm-hmm. then that is a female director who is getting an accolade,
right?
Because you can't win Best Picture if it wasn't, directed. I don't understand the difference between Best Director, Best Picture, because if you win a Best Director,
well, the difference is there's only 5 possible nominees for Best Director versus there's up to 10 for Best Picture. That's really the difference.
But I'm saying in general, how can you win a Best Picture yet you weren't the Best Director?
Yeah, I don't know.
That year, Or how could you win for Best Director, but the picture you directed wasn't? How do we know you're the best? How do we know from watching this picture that you are the Best Director if we don't consider your picture the Best Picture? That's what's kind of messed up about that.
I'm looking at the directors though too, and you got three directors here that are just. I mean, you got Scorsese, Tarantino, and Mendes, right? For 1917, which you saw and you said was one of the most amazing movies you've seen.
It's pretty wonderful.
Yeah,
it's just wonderful. It's just, the issue with it is that it doesn't really. It's not pretentious. You pretty much know it's wonderful when you sit down in it. It's not one of those movies where I've discovered this great. I mean, it's you kind of know from the footage. It's this is going to be great, you sit down.
Oh, the word of mouth. The word of mouth is tremendous on that. Right?
Yeah,
it's
really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you're saying Scorsese and
Scorsese, Mendes, Tarantino. I mean, those are 3 of the greatest directors of all time. Mm-hmm. I would probably rank them in that order. In fact, Scorsese, Tarantino, then Mendes. You have Bong Joon-ho for Parasite got nominated for Best Director also. So I mean, there is inclusion in that. It's just not female inclusion. But then you have Todd Phillips, the Joker, and that's it's like if there's like one slot. Joker ended up leading all nominations, by the way, with 11 nominations. Is that crazy? Like, is it like what world are we living in right now?
I tend to think so, only because I've seen that movie. And I mean, look, I enjoyed the movie. I think it was a good movie. Okay, it's really. I know. Let's see, Joaquin Phoenix, I think,
will win and should win. I think that's
you know what? If he walks away with the award, I will say it was well earned.
Yeah.
Right? I will say he deserved to win that award. That's fine. But all those other accolades for the picture in and of itself,
that one got me a little.
Doesn't make
took me a little bit by surprise. That took me a little
because
bit
there's nothing. Other than cinematography, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And he didn't get. I don't know if he got nominated. Did he get nominated for best cinematography?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that's excellent. There's nothing really all that special.
Yeah.
About the movie itself. We've seen a number. I mean, it's just it captured the zeitgeist, right? It's a zeitgeist film. So like it's got those societal linkages that that make it a very relevant, very, very happening, very eye-opening film for the time being. And so, I mean, we just have to deal with that. I personally think there were better movies, and I think I think The Joker in and of itself could have been a better movie. Even though I enjoyed it, I just don't. I think they're doing it a disservice by exalting it to be as big as it is. I think it would have done better if it got recognized as a great film, but then didn't get heaped on all this other baggage that's getting attached to it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, what do I know?
It's going to be a very interesting Oscar. Oscar's so superhero.
With no women. Don't invite women to your Oscar parties.
Well, just not for director. Again, do we have to? I mean, is there going to be like complaints every year now? Is that just what it's going to be?
Maybe. Why shouldn't they complain? Why shouldn't people who want things be upset about not getting what they want?
I don't know. Just after
it doesn't mean that we are obligated to adhere to the complaints.
I'm not saying like everything is like fixed. Like in terms of there was an issue, so they addressed it, which they did, and that the system works 100% perfectly. But
what do you want? Like people to just be happy? So you got to be careful. That's what I'm saying. We got to be careful with that mentality. Because that's a parsing mentality. That's the proportionate, argument. Like we gave you diversity last year, so you shut up now.
But we didn't. No. But that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like there was token nominations last year. Like they revamped the system. They excluded a lot of the older members. They included a lot of new people. They revamped the academy. I mean, they did all these things. The outcome.
Okay,
not being favorable is just it's.
I'll make society a counter proposal. I'll make it a counter proposal. Society's upset now that no matter what, there's someone always complaining about something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you would say that that's pretty fair, right?
Yes.
That's a fair assessment.
Mm-hmm.
My counter proposal to that is we should stop getting upset that people are complaining. It's just noise, People are just making noise. And people are making noise because they have platforms and the ability to make noise.
Do you know what's really funny, though?
We should reduce how effective those platforms are on getting our undivided attention.
Do you know what's really funny, though? John Cho looked like Mike Myers when Kanye West went on Saturday Night Live and said George W. Bush does not care about black people. Because you could just see John Cho's like he gave us like, oh yeah, she just went there. Okay, I got you. It was kind of entertaining to see. You know what else was entertaining?
All right, I guess. Okay.
Not one, but two new movie trailers, all debuting in the past week. We got Birds of Prey trailer 2 taking on Morbius in our Trailer Truth or Trash face-off when we come back. Check out the all-new Sire Studios website, SireStudiosInc.com. Find all your back issues for The Sire, Mainstream, Undone, and more. And be on the lookout for news and announcements, convention appearances, and brand new podcasts coming to Sire Studios. That address again is SireStudiosInc.com. Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. Secrets of the Sire is brought to you by all of our beloved patrons, dedicated fans, Tom Osa, Craig Caruso, Einar Peterson, Matt Beyer, Omar Morales, Brian Phillips, our program director, Stephanie Dolce, and as always, our Uber fan, Christina Dolce. Go to patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire for some exclusive behind-the-scenes stuff, like our show outline with lots of artwork, our exclusive streams, like we did when we shot the live show at Funny Business in Nyack, and much more. That's patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire. All right. Thursday hits. It's the day after our podcast. I get to breathe a sigh of relief because we've done another show. It was the greatest show known to mankind, as it always is. And then Birds of Prey trailer 2 comes right out. I'm like, part of me is like, all right, well, this is good, because now we got more stuff to talk about next week. That's great. I'm a little pissed. I'm like, damn, we could have squeezed it in somehow. Then Monday
Always
night.
Someone complaining.
I know. Good thing I have a platform. It's then on Monday.
We should stop listening to your complaints.
Then on Monday,
turn your platform off.
Then on Monday, it's announced Pearl Jam will have a new record out and a tour, which has nothing to do with the trailers. I just thought it was kind of cool to announce that. Anyway, then Morbius debuts, a Morbius trailer. This is one of those trailers too. This is the first trailer versus a Birds of Prey trailer, which is number 2, and I'll give you my take on the Birds of Prey trailer shortly. Morbius is just I didn't even mean to do this, pardon the pun, bat shit crazy, right? Is that one of like the craziest like looking trailers? It's like all over the place, but at the same time,
it's very busy.
But at the same time, it kind of at the same time kind of hits a couple things. Like you get to see him look like Morbius by the end, and you kind of, you get to see a couple little Easter eggs thrown in there, but it's this like Sony Spider-Man, like I don't know, man. I kind of all over the place, right?
Yeah. For the first time, I kind of understood comic book fatigue watching that trailer. Only because obviously it's going to be an origin story. And I think, like I said before, this is a guy who's got some kind of thing wrong with him. So he goes to the hospital, takes a shot full of thing to quell the thing that's in him. And it turns him into a thing, and that other people, decide it's a thing to be afraid of. Mm-hmm. Or, either that or he turns the tide on whatever the thing is, and then he uses his thing to attack other people's things.
Yeah.
And it's a tried and true formula, but it's not exciting anymore. Yeah. I mean, like the trailer in and of itself, I don't think it excited me. I'm not a Morbius fan, so that's probably what part of my problem is. I acknowledge it's my problem.
There's no Morbius fan. Like, I can't imagine there's some diehard fan out there being like, I can't believe they ruined Morbius. Jared Leto, no. Or like,
There's gotta be. We just talked about people being outraged about everything.
I can't even
Someone exists.
No. But just even for that kind of reaction, flip the scales the other way. I can't imagine there's somebody out there like, yes,
he's one of the Midnight Suns.
Finally, we got Morbius. We've been waiting so long. Like, no, like you're kind of like.
Now, isn't Blade one of the Midnight Suns also?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they got Morbius in Sony, and MCU's doing Blade.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but
setting it up.
But that Sony partnership is so fragile. I just can't imagine it's going to lead where I think it's going to lead, and especially where you think it's going to lead. But also, I mean, this is Sony. They're not really, they're not really ahead of what they're doing. That they're kind of like they're flying by the seat of their pants here. They're like, we have these properties, things are making money.
Yeah, they're holding on tight. They're holding on really tight.
And we're just, they're just kind of like Venom was not surprisingly did not get an Oscar nom, and it got snubbed.
Yes, it was robbed.
But it managed to make a lot of money. So,
yes, it did.
I mean, that's kind of what it is. All right, before we go to the Birds of Prey trailer, is that Vulture Michael Keaton in the back? Because see, then I'm
Morbius.
I'm completely baffled at that point if that is Vulture Michael Keaton. Now I have
well,
no idea.
It is Spider-Man. It is in the Spider-Man universe.
What I'm saying. And they made it a point to say it's from the studio that brought you Spider-Man Homecoming.
So it must be. It must be the Vulture. It
right?
Must be Vulture. But I don't know why Vulture is with the Midnight Suns, but it must be the Vulture.
I know. I know there's a reason. I know people are, they're commenting already as to like, no, you're wrong. But, it's.
I don't see why you would include Michael Keaton in there if he wasn't Vulture. If you didn't have that linkage, why would it be confusing? You could argue that Jared Leto is the Joker and now he's Morbius, but it's jumping. It's genre jumping. It's franchise jumping. So it's not complicated traffic for him to be one or the other, right? But if you're going to throw Michael Keaton in there, who is in the MCU as the Vulture,
and this is according to so I'm looking this up. According to Sci-Fi Wire, he seems to be reprising his Spider-Man Homecoming role because the Spider-Man graffiti in the background seems to clinch the fact that this film will tie into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. See,
of course it will. Just like Venom supposedly is in the MCU. It's just not officially recognized, but it's in the Spider-Man universe, which is MCU adjacent. Which is in the doorstep of the MCU.
And you've also got the idea of a Sinister Six now too. Vulture, Shocker, Scorpion, Mysterio.
Yeah, it's weird that they're going to push that Sony's going to keep pushing that, because you remember with Amazing Spider-Man, those two movies, that they had decided they were going to make a shared universe with the Sinister Six. Each of the Sinister Six were going to get their own movie. With the start of Shocker. Yeah, Shocker was going to get his own, Electro, excuse me, was going to get his own movie.
I don't know.
Starting with
with
Amazing Spider-Man, and then they were going to give. They brought in Dane DeHaan. Dane DeHaan was going to put together the Sinister Six. That was going to supposedly be its own franchise. And we were all talking about how ridiculous it is for you to try to make a universe out of one property. Just because you have. Just because Spider-Man's got a rogues gallery of villains, which you're gonna make each and every one of these people interesting enough to have their own movie, but then they're still all supposed to be bad guys that Spider-Man's gonna fight, even though Spider-Man's only in one movie. It's crazy, but there's still seeds of this going on.
I know,
because they made a Venom movie.
That's my point. Like I can't even wrap my head around the tangential like universe strands. Like of this, and again, pardon the pun, this spider web of tapestry.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Flip over to DC for a second. Birds of Prey trailer comes out last week. Two impressions I get from it. First of all, Margot Robbie. She's just a star, isn't she? Like, I mean, I am transfixed by every single clip in this trailer, even more so than the first trailer.
Weirdly enough, I agree with you. I think she's great. I just don't like her Harley Quinn.
Yes.
I think she's great to look at. I think she's a great character. I just wouldn't want to call her Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Because Harley Quinn is such a from the animated series, it's such a unique and different kind of character.
Yeah. No, she totally stands out, and that leads me to my second point. This is really still a Harley Quinn solo movie. This is the arguments were, well, when the first trailer came out, well, we're going to see some of the other characters. They're going to focus on those other characters in the next couple trailers. This is just to introduce the character. They introduced all these characters. They don't look anything like the characters they're supposed to be. It was funny at one point, they're flashing, Black Canary, Huntress, another character I don't even know the name of, and Renee Montoya, and I'm like, oh, Rosie Perez, Renee Montoya. Okay, I see that. Huntress, though? What, that doesn't look like Huntress. Black Canary? Yeah, that ain't the Black Canary I recognize. And they're just...
the DC stuff is so hard, though, right? Because their costumes are blatant. Marvel has been able to kind of skirt the line with costuming.
Yeah.
with their characters, so it doesn't skew so ridiculous. I mean, Iron Man's costume is essential. Spider-Man's the only one really with a costume, because Captain America gets away with wearing these paramilitary suits that kind of are decorated like his Captain America suit, but not really. Falcon's got armor on, but the wings make him Falcon. War Machine speaks for itself, just like Iron Man. I mean, the only other one is Vision, who looked, overtly superhero-ish. And you could argue, well, that's the way he was designed because he's a robot, So they managed to kind of get away with it that way. Hulk's got no uniform,
Right.
But in Birds of Prey, and like Batman looks like Batman. Superman's gotta wear the Superman suit, These characters actually have to wear costumes, in order to be identified as their characters, and that can be very difficult because it could be done really badly.
Yeah.
Hence Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse in Age of Apocalypse.
Oh, man. Birds of Prey trailer 2 versus Morbius. Which one is a trailer truth and which one is a trailer trash?
What's your category of truth versus trash? I get trash. Trash makes sense. But what would the category of truth be in this?
I'm gonna say truth. We're gonna use the sports terminology for truth. Like, that guy is the truth. Like when they come out.
Which is better? Which is more righteous? Righteous trailer
versus trash.
I would say that Birds of Prey for me only because it doesn't seem to follow the same formula, so it's interesting as to see, okay, how does it all fall together? How are you gonna eke a successful movie out of all these images that you've thrown at me, which makes it interesting. Morbius is pretty straightforward. I'm still gonna see it. I'm still interested in seeing it, but it's not as interesting looking.
Yeah.
Right off the bat as Bird of Prey.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Birds of Prey trailer is the truth. Morbius trailer is the trash. However,
that's harsh though. I didn't want to say that.
However,
trash.
I have a feeling I'm going to walk into Morbius like I walked into Venom, and
you're gonna
where I'm like, well, I don't really have high hopes for this.
Good, we'll need something.
And I'm
going to
walk out. I'm going to walk out and be like, Oscar Nom.
Because you're Oscar Nom.
No,
you did not walk out of Venom feeling Oscar Nom. You were like, "Hey, this isn't so bad." That's the exact extent of it. And now you're talking about you're gonna walk out like we're gonna protest. We have to go and we have to make a stand.
When we come back, our interview with the Spin Doctors celebrating their 30th.
Oh, look. Kid Harington's fighting Cersei again.
Yeah.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something?
Are they gonna bring Daenerys in? Are they gonna?
Yes.
Marvel's attempt. This is Marvel's attempt to
do it all.
Just to retcon the ending of Game of Thrones, isn't it?
Maybe so. Maybe this will be how they do it.
We're gonna do it.
Secrets of the Sire.
Was that 91, Two Princes? Oh, hello.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. As Hassan was just alluding to, late last year, I had the privilege of interviewing Eric Schenkman, the guitarist from the iconic 90s band Spin Doctors, who are currently on tour celebrating their 30th anniversary as a band. Let's listen in. All right, you guys, Spin Doctors are celebrating 30 years together. What does that feel like? What does that feel like to you guys every time you walk on stage now?
Oh, I feel like it feels great, actually. It's an amazing thing when four people can say that they've been playing together for 30 years. I mean, first of all, you're all still here.
Yeah.
So I've lost a lot of friends along the way. It's like that's number one, is that everybody's still here. It's an amazing thing to have everybody still around. And the other thing too is that everybody still plays. We've all continued to play and play and play, like normally do. We'll get to dig a little deep, and it's going to be fun for everybody.
Yeah, talk to me about the show. How did it come about? I mean, is it whose idea was it? Obviously, these milestone things.
We decided as a group that we should do. We didn't want to do anything too big necessarily, but too long or anything like a tour or something like that. But we wanted to celebrate our 30th anniversary in the city where we started the band, and where we could likely, see some old familiar faces from way back when, as well as other times too. So it's kind of a no-brainer.
So it was just easy. It was just easy getting everyone together. There wasn't even a hesitation, I guess.
No, because we work together regularly all year long. We've been working together for the last, however many years it is. We just don't normally do, it was very easy. Yeah, it was okay, let's do this. And everybody said, yeah, let's do this. So,
cool.
Believe me, it's a great thing for us. We're all totally psyched.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Take me through the early years. Give me, just reading through your bio, there were so many twists and turns, it seems, as to how you guys even materialized. Which is ironic because...
Sure, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, it's ironic because your sound, you hear it, it's Spin Doctors immediately. Even people who might not even know who you are, they've heard your music, they just... And it's just so related to the that early 90s scene. It's so... I can't even think of the word. It's just connected directly to it. So, yeah, so take me through those early years. How did you guys get there?
I suppose it's a bit well, it's connotative and it may be slightly cathartic for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for us, the band, really, in a nutshell, the group started. I approached Chris, 30 years ago, and I said, let's put a band together, and he said okay, and I approached Aaron, and I said, you want to play in my band, and he said yeah, and I said, I'm serious about this, which is a joke. This is actually a joke between us, because he's a great drummer, and he was sort of planning to be, I don't know, what he is, kind of a session drummer or whatever. Sure. And so I said to him, I'm starting a group, man. You got to take it seriously. I don't want you to be in any other groups. And at the time, he was kind of laughed at me. He was kind of like, yeah, sure, I'm into it. But then, considering what happened with the group and how it materialized and how it went along, it was pretty amazing, because in the end, it turns out that it's, we've been playing together for 30 years.
Yeah.
and nobody ever, we all went, we all realized that we went along without a bass player, a regular guy for a while. We had about 6 bass players we funneled through for the first, say, 6 months for gigging. But by the time Mark, who was playing with Aaron in another band actually at the time, by the time Mark came and played 3 notes with us, that was the final piece of the puzzle. So, it's been a great run of us really celebrating over the years that union, it's so amazing in music when you find people that you can click with. It in 1 second, right? And what's really interesting is that it's been like that for 30 years. And that's not even saying that we necessarily get along as people all the time. We're like brothers, right?
Sure.
We don't necessarily get along, but we love the music and we love what we do together, and that has never changed.
No, that's awesome. Take me through the construction of your most iconic songs. Two Princes, obviously, kind of comes to mind immediately.
How that happened?
Yeah.
Okay. So Chris was singing that Two Princes melody, and we put I just made the chords underneath it. He sort of had an idea that the tonal center. The chords came up, and that rhythm. As soon as I played that, Aaron locked into it, and that was it. This band is full of a lot of moments like that.
Yeah.
We'll find something. Oh, that's it, and it's and it stays there, right? So we're not really, we don't have a history of going deep on construction. You know what I mean? We're much more, and we do that in rehearsal too. We don't rehearse often. We'll rehearse for this gig, but we don't necessarily rehearse often. We won't even sound check. We'll just hit. And there's just something about the chemistry between us is we always play good together, and it's always really, really, like that. So Two Princes was one of those songs. Jimmy Olsen was like that too. Little Miss was like that too. All of those songs happened very, very quickly for the most part, and that started our initial club run. Which what I would characterize as our first, say, 3 years.
Sure.
Where it only played in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And like basically until we were like in the Voice, if you looked at the Village Voice back then, you'd see Spin Doctors all over the place.
Uh-huh.
But we'd never be at it. But if you came down to see us at a club, there'd be like a lineup out the door, and the place would be nuts.
Yeah.
So eventually, we started branching that out, and that's how we found our management too. Everybody kind of found us in that vibe.
Wow.
Like, wow, what's this? So it happened very naturally. It's very, very
was there a scene?
In that.
Yeah, was there like a scene for that? I mean, or like, did you come up with a bunch of other bands that also kind of made it at the time?
Yeah. There was totally a scene. Yeah, the 90s scene in New York was kind of like the precursor to what Rolling Stone started talking about in terms of the Grateful Dead, like the Re-Dead, you know, like the next generation with the jam bands.
Okay.
And so Blues Traveler and the Spin Doctors and a few other bands, notably, well, Joan Osborne is another person that was on that scene.
Yeah.
We all played the same clubs. We all had the same basic idea about music, too. There was an openness. There was a little jazz in it. There was improvisation possibilities. And there was a lot of, you know, New York at the time, and probably still is, the type of place where, you know, you're just constantly amazed by the amount of talent that you're looking at, and you've never heard of any of it.
Yeah.
Well, we fit into that perfectly, and we were kind of like, when you'd walk into a club back then, you'd be like, what? Where'd this come from?
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that scene really happened, and it sort of came up, and then Wetlands, the club Wetlands, kind of embraced it, and then people started writing about it. But I clearly remember before anybody was writing about it, because I was in high school with a bunch of deadheads. Aaron was a deadhead. I wasn't actually a deadhead myself personally. I kind of like the Allman Brothers band.
Sure.
If I had to pick a two-drummer band, but that's not the point. The point is that at that point in New York, I went down to the Wetlands one night, and I said to the person I was with, I can't remember who I was with, but the Spins hadn't really even happened yet, or maybe we had, I can't remember. And I said, these guys are like re-hippies. And then I just never forgot that because I'm good at naming stuff. And it's like re-hippie. I was like, because I grew up, I'm born in like 1963, right? So when I was like, you know, 8 years old, I was wearing bell bottoms and hanging out with hippies.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it was just so weird. It was like, this is like re-hippies, man. It's like, you know, and then the scene kind of embraced that, you know, the Dead was still happening and whatnot, and it kind of grew out of that. And then there was a period of time where, you know, the Wetlands kind of became the hub a little bit, and the Nightingale Bar. There's a bunch of clubs in New York. It's worth mentioning that the cabaret law in New York City was repealed in 1980.
Okay.
I think 6. And that also opened up venues for the Spin Doctors to play at too. So New York was very club happy back then. You could get a gig, and we got lots. And we used to play on Bleecker Street.
Okay.
Tourists. We'd play a bunch of blues songs, then we'd start playing our stuff, or we'd go play at the Wetlands. We'd jam and play, you know, and you know, stretch everything out. The point I'm trying to make though is that after that, Rolling Stone, I can't remember when it was. It must have been like 89, 90, something like that.
Sure.
91. When they wrote about the jam band scene, they featured like us and Fish and Blues Traveler, and it was kind of like after that, the history started mimicking the press. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It started to, you know, what's the word? You know, like head and tail. You know, follow around. It's like a dog chasing his tail. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Chicken and egg theory, right?
Yeah, that's why we're the Spin Doctors. Everything was spinning around at the time, so we just had to know better. So we didn't, you know what I mean? It's just like, so that happened, and that was really the scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that scene, that like grew amazingly, and the crowd was, you know, that it became national.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it from New York outwards, because I'm a big believer in universal ideas. Like, I think it was happening, but it's sort of like, then we took it out. The Horde tour happened the summer after that, which was sort of an expression of those 3 bands.
Yeah.
It was like us, Traveler, Fish, and Aquarium Rescue Unit.
Wow.
And so we spent a summer together with those guys, and at the end of that summer, our song Little Miss Campy Rock took off. It was actually in the middle of the tour. So then Spin Doctors had a little change then, because we had a pop song all of a sudden, right? So at that point, our trajectory sort of veered a little bit from those other bands, and we became more of like a radio band at that point, which in hindsight is a hard thing actually to manage.
Yeah, well, actually, that was my next question too. Was just, you know, Take Me Now, you know, Little Miss Hits, and I mean, you know, I was in high school in like '94, and you know, going the school bus, we heard you and Blind Melon every day on like the bus driver had Z100 on, and it was you and No Rain, which ironically, even though it's commercial rock, I mean those are two of the greatest albums I've ever listened to. So it's amazing that at the same time it was commercial, it was quality at the same time. But so take me through that now you guys are known, you're a real band now. It's not just you're not just playing for your friends anymore.
Yeah, so then we just got real big, real fast, and we took our show on the road, and we for the first little while, anyways, for sure, it really went kind of according to plan. It was like we expanded it. It was good. Your ego gets a little big, but you get the bigger gigs and whatnot. Then what happened was, Sony, who we were working for, they called for the next record in the contract because we had a contract with them. Mm-hmm. So when they did that, we met the expectations of the record company. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't mean we met them. I mean we encountered them.
Yeah.
And so what we encountered was, all of that, and that was very difficult to deal with. I think ego had a problem there. I think, just knowing who we were, we weren't ever a band that was known for like a terrifically strong image.
Yeah.
So for us, it was very difficult to deal, not with the success so much, I think, as the expectations that were put upon us.
Sure.
Because when I look at it in like time capsule, I look back and I go, and I said this back then too, it's like, if the record company had never called for the second record right there, if we had just worked Kryptonite for another year, and we should have, I think we would have lasted in a different way.
Yeah.
Because we really got knocked off our game a little bit. We didn't know what to do with these expectations. Mm-hmm. And we tried very hard to make a record, but we were too conscious of ourselves at the time.
That makes sense.
And so, even though the record, which turned out to be Turn It Upside Down, even though it's a good record, I just spent a lot of time like relearning a bunch of stuff because we're doing a lot of it. But even though, as I say, even though it was a good record and there's really good playing on it, and I'm crazy actually about all the technical, the playing, the singing. It's all very good, but as a unit, it's not like what we were before that. It's not completely cohesive to me. I may be the only person that feels that way, but to me, that started like the next sort of 15 years of uncertainty in the Spin Doctors, and then I'm gonna fast forward now to 2001, because it was in 2001 that we put the quartet, seriously back like on the road together and made another record, and at that point, it started again. Like,
yeah.
We had enough. One of our roadies, our old time roadies, died of brain cancer. We had reunited as brother friends. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it was, the business was kind of out of it, and we started the road there from 2001 really till now. It's, I guess you'd say like just kind of putting our present mark on the band and making sure that we could be here for the long haul, play music together, play music for people, make more records, this sort of thing. So that's really what happened. That's the story of the band. So from 2001 till now, we've had an extraordinarily great time, and we played tons of good music together, and continue to write and like really be happy about all of it, including everybody doing their own thing on the side and this and that. So I guess really in synopsis, it's kind of like strong, totally organic, real rock and roll band is born, lives in New York, cuts its teeth, has its teenage little romp, and then gets incredibly self-conscious and weird for about 10 years,
yeah.
And then forms again and decides, here's the part that's great, is that a lot of my friends that came up with it passed, or a lot of bands are missing members, and for us, we have a different thing. We have our guys, and everybody plays better than they ever did before. Everybody's still hungry, so if you come and see the Spin Doctors, I guarantee you, it'll be like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. It's like, it's more powerful than you think it's going to be. And I think that's kind of what we traded,
Yeah.
We sort of traded in, like, jumping on the 90s bandwagon, whatever they said it was, whoever the fuck they are.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of, like, made our own way. And when the coast was clear, we're a band that's never really bent to economy. Like, we've never really looked at the bank of it all and said, okay, let's make a good business decision. We do that now because we're old. At the time, it was total passion, man. It's just like, what feels right, let's do it. It didn't matter if it was money. money or no money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you. So I want to ask you about the current stuff you're doing, but I want to ask a quick follow up to something you mentioned. And I'm happy you kind of said this because I always feel like this is the case. You said you became self-conscious about your own success, and it's almost like we'll use a sports analogy. I always tend to do that. You know, it's like a football player who's in his own head, like a quarterback who's in his own head. You know, all of a sudden, it's like
absolutely, that's what it is, in your own head. Great way to put it.
Yeah. So, I mean, take me through that. I mean, were you guys in the studio? I mean, you touched upon it, and I think that's such an interesting thing because you know you're almost living up to this expectation of being the Spin Doctors now, as opposed to we're a band called the Spin Doctors.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. That's exactly right. It's exactly what it was. Exactly like that. You're in your own head, and you have to figure out how to get out of your own head.
Was there like a moment in the studio when you guys are talking about this, or was there like a stopping point when you were recording that follow up?
No, yeah. It was when I left.
Mm-hmm.
I quit the band.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it was.
Okay.
I quit the band at '94 because that's where I was at with it. I didn't want it. I really wanted the band to be what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't see any other direction. All I could see was, you know, I remember saying at one point, I'm like, you know, why are we going out behind the second record playing bigger venues than we played last year? We need to play the same size or smaller so that there's a lineup around the block.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's the two competing factions are really that versus, you know, the hardcore business of it, where your manager's getting 20% and he wants you to play a bigger venue because he's going to make 20%.
Sure.
And then in the middle of all that is reason, which is, you know, that might be a good idea. It might not be a good idea. And the only way to figure out reason is to communicate. And that was our problem. Right then, we didn't communicate. We were not communicating with each other in any kind of a way. We communicate, the Spin Doctors guys, we communicate much better with each other musically than we do in words.
Very cool. Well, Eric, thank you so much. I appreciate your candor, and I love getting into the history. And like I said, you guys are so connotative with that early scene. It's and you know, for me, it was like some of the best years of my life, just being in high school, and you know, just the creative energy of the early '90s was so palpable in everything, in music and comics and art. I mean, it was so great.
Well, I'm really glad to talk to you about it. You really woke up the conversation, and we talked about some lively stuff.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Okay, brother. Thank you for the interview. I appreciate it, too.
Take care. Thank you.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture. We do this every week. We go spinning the comic book to movie racks.
Spin a rack, spin that rack.
I gotta say before you start talking, I was in Best Buy the other day.
Yeah.
And in the movie section.
Yeah.
It is pitiful, man. Like, we are losing tangible media. I just want to say that. I want to put my protest out there.
I was actually surprised how much they had. I went to Best Buy over Christmas break to buy something for my dad for Christmas, and I was like, well, I'll stop in Best Buy, but they don't have anything anymore, do they? And they actually had a few racks. And
that in and of itself is a statement, isn't it? Yeah. Because I remember Best Buy used to have rows and rows, and it took a while to walk through that library.
They had more this past time than I thought they had.
I know.
Last time,
I'm saying the fact that you thought that you even thought that would be a waste of your time.
I know.
Statement. You know.
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah.
Bad.
Well, that's
the loss of tangible media is a bad move. I'm telling you that. Retail apocalypse. It is. It's a bad mood for all of us. It really is.
All right.
Because next thing it is, they're going to launch the EMP, and then we're all going to be without movies.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's the inevitable. You know.
It is going to happen.
It's inevitable.
Heard it here first on Secrets of the Sire. You all heard it from us.
We love this because we like to give you some behind the scenes of the comic book world. This is the stuff that will make their way into the theaters later on. And this one's kind of interesting too. Shredder will become the Green Power Ranger in a TMNT crossover. So this is by Boom Studios. The Power Rangers and the Mutant Ninja Turtles have a new yet familiar enemy in the latest issue of Boom Studios' Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic. As the villain Shredder becomes the new Green Ranger. The Green Ranger will make his first full appearance in the third issue of a 5-part limited series event. Crossover's been going on since December and tells the story of worlds colliding as the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fight and eventually team up with the Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is the formula for all team-ups, isn't it?
That's officially a brand new damned idea.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. If you want something new, kids, whoever came up with that idea, he's your go-to guy. I'm going to make Shredder the Green Ranger. Holy, I can't even imagine what the pitch meeting was like on that.
It's written by Ryan Parrott.
I'm telling you this will work, darn it. I'm going to make him the Green Ranger. All right, okay.
Marvel announces new Power Pack series. So
nice.
Power Packs, yes, for some 80s Power Pack fans.
They're not, those kids aren't grown up yet, huh?
All 12 of them, they're out there. Marvel's bringing back Power Pack.
Hey!
Spinning out of the Outlawed event, the unbeatable Squirrel Girl writer Ryan North teams with artist Nico Leone to reunite Katie, Julie, Jack, and Alex Power for the new 5-issue miniseries full of superhero family adventures.
How old are they?
Because
if they're still toddlers.
They are. The first issue will ship with a cover by Absolute Carnage artist Ryan Stegman, friend of the show, actually Ryan Stegman, plus a variant by Leone and another by Eduard Petrovich.
Excellent.
One more for the one more reboot. This one I'm actually excited about. Marvel is rebooting New Warriors with writer Daniel Kibblesmith,
nice,
who loves skateboarding heroes. It's been 5 years since anyone's heard from the New Warriors, while the core team of young superheroes, Night Thrasher, Firestar, Silhouette, Rage, Speedball, and Namorita, spent years fighting crime in the 90s. They were all but destroyed when they sparked 2005's Civil War. Remember that? They got blowed up. Since then, they've been reassembled. I vaguely
remember that, actually. I remember, what happened to it? You can't just blow up the New Warrior.
I know. This is also coming out of the wake of Outlawed.
You can't blow up Firestar. She was one of the Spider-Man's amazing friends on television.
And the implementation of Kamala's Law across the Marvel Universe this spring, which decrees no one under 21 can be a superhero. So that's interesting, right? So they've outlawed teen superheroes.
Oh, Watchmen, a little Watchmen action.
I like that, though. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like
that. That ruins a lot of superhero teams in the Marvel Universe, though.
Well, now they're going to be outlaws.
There was, I'm saying there's a substantial, there's almost an unprecedented amount of underage crime fighters in the Marvel Universe.
So check this out.
Including Spider-Man.
Yeah. Night Thrasher has resurrected his old team with the goal of mentoring a new generation of heroes, whether they like it or not. Now, older and hopefully a little bit wiser, it's up to the New Warriors to guide a brand new team of recruits 30 years after they began fighting for justice themselves. Kibblesmith is a Late Show with Stephen Colbert writer, actually. He's launching the book with Luciano Vecchio. It provides a perfect jumping-on point for new fans while calling back to the original series. If writing a superhero team wasn't enough, Kibblesmith and Vecchio also created and designed 5 new superhero recruits for the book. So that is your comics to film update, things that are going on in the Marvel Universe. I mean, again, we laugh, but we have a Morbius movie. Like, it's...
It's fine. I mean, look, all those things, including Shredder becoming a Power Ranger, are fine with me. That's outside of the box. You can't say that's not outside of the box.
Yeah.
And bringing back Power Pack. I mean, look, when has nostalgia ever gone wrong for us in the last 5 years?
Well, we hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. We've done our best to bring you surprises and awesome things.
It's pronounced surprise.
Yeah. And next week, we still don't know what we're going to talk about, but...
Hey, stop admitting that.
But Pat Shand will be here.
Oh, man, I won't be here.
Poetic
taking
with
that week
all
off.
Of us. All 3 of us will be in the Sire Studios Digital Studio Network, and we will have some fun. We'll just run the gamut. We'll just shoot the S with them.
I love shooting the S.
That's right.
The S deserves it.
We will see you guys next week.